welcome back to another video. So today I have the Colorya Imaginor colored pencils, and we are going to take a look at these today. The company sent these to me so that I could share them with all of you. If you've watched my colored pencil reviews or first impression videos, you know that I like to do several different things with these pencils to really put them to the test. And we are going to do all of that in this video too. We're going to do the pencil sharpener test, we are going to do the blend test, and we are going to take a really close look at these. I'm very excited about these because these are actually a wax-based set of pencils. And if you have been collecting colored pencils, all of the budget-friendly colored pencils that are available on Amazon, you know that the majority of them are oil-based. So I'm really excited to test these out, and I can't wait to share these with you. And I will, of course, have these down in the description box below so that you can easily find them on Amazon, as well as a link to my Facebook group. If you are not already a member of my Facebook group, please do join us there. We love sharing our new coloring supplies and our finished colored pages. So if you're not already a member, please do join us. I will also have down there links to my email list, my Etsy store, and my Patreon if you would like to support me there. Let's go ahead and take a look at these pencils. So they came in what looks to be a really nice case with this paper here over the top that just slides off. So here it just says 72 colored pencils, premium soft core. Again, like I said, they are supposedly wax-based. That's how they are advertised on Amazon. Colorya Imaginor colored pencils. We have some beautiful artwork here. And if we take a look over here on the back, it does say 72 unique and vivid colors, wax-based 3mm leads, premium soft core, smooth, even coverage, premium blending and shading, rich, intense pigments. Okay, so here is the case that they come in. And it is a really nice zippered case. You've got the double zippers on here, and then you have this little handle up here on the top that you could very easily carry it with you. And the case is a really good size so that you could fit it into your bag if you are mobile with your coloring and want to take it out. It has this little logo down here that says Colorya with a pretty little painted on rainbow. Let's go ahead and open this. Okay, so the zipper feels really nice. It's a really smooth open. The case feels really like it's really good quality. Okay, so we do have all of the single slots for each one of these pencils. We have the inner flap right here and pencils on each side. And then we have our darker colors or our grays and our browns over here on this flap. Okay, so y'all know I'm looking at this color order that they are in. Y'all know how I am with color order of pencils. They are definitely not in the color order that I would put them in. It does start with the whites and go into the yellows and then some oranges here, but then the reds are over here on this side. Oh my goodness, and then we got some blues and greens over here and some greens over here. Okay, and then we have another yellow over here and another orange over on this side that I would probably put over here. So I may swap them around a little bit, I don't know. So let's go ahead and take a look at these pencils. We'll just slide this orange one out right here. So it says Colorya Imaginor, and then it's got this pretty little flower looking symbol here. And then it says bright orange, so they do have color names. And I love how thick the gold writing is. If you saw my previous video where I reviewed the Color It pencils, they also had gold writing on top of colored barrels, just like these, with the little gold ring as well. They look similar, but the font was much different and much thinner, more similar to what you would see on a polychromos or something. But these are really nice because you could see that the font is really, really thick, and so it really stands out off of that colored barrel. So again, we have the little gold ring here, and we do also have a number. So that's great. I love when pencils have the number and the name so that I can use my custom-made swatch charts because I have a space for the number and the name on those. And it seems like a lot of the budget sets that are coming out now, a lot of them do have numbers and names. And then up here we have a really pretty decoration up here at the top. These are really pretty pencils. And then that is what the lead looks like when it comes to you. And of course, y'all know I'm going to be sharpening all of these pencils. So you could see that they slide in and out very easily of these single slots. I really, really love that. The case does seem like it is really good quality. And I do love when pencils come already in the case because that saves you money and you don't have to go out and purchase a case for them. Let's go ahead and do a review of the colors that we get in this set as we can see them laying in their case. So these are quite a bit out of the order that I would put them in, but that's okay. So we are going to start here with the white, and then we get an ivory, and then we get a couple more yellows here. And then this one here looks to be more of a yellow. It's called marmalade. We get a couple beige colors here. This one here is called camel, and then creamy beige. But you get two beige colors. I would probably have those on the other side of the case or the back of the case with my browns. Jumping over here, because I just want to show you, we have our oranges here, and then over here we have some colors that are very orangey red. So these, if I were putting these in color family order, these would be over here on this side and these would be moved out. This color here would probably be in here somewhere, maybe after the ivory. But then we have another orange shade over here, and they're calling this one burnt ochre. So that would actually be over there and not with the browns. And then we have quite a few shades of pinks here. Well, we've got this peachy color here. This is our coral. And so we've got some pinks here as well, some really pretty pinks. We've got this bright neon pink, and then we have these pinky purples, which are really, really pretty. This looks like it may be the lightest pink that we have. And then we have another very bright pink over here. And we have this right here that looks to be more like a pinky purple as well. Then we have all of our greens here. So we are going to get this beautiful, I love greens like this. So this is sort of like a chartreuse green. They're calling it lime. And then it looks like we get a couple olive greens here. And then this green looks very different. This is actually called ancient silver. I don't know how that would swatch out. We'll have to see when we get to that point of the video. But then we have a couple teals here. And then let me see if there's any other greens. Okay, so we have more greens over here. This looks more like a grass type green. And then we get more teals here. We have one here called basil that looks like it is a greenish blue color. And then we get some more of those here. These look like, some of these look like they may be similar to one another, or maybe not. This one has more blue in it. So then we have a really light blue here. This one, it's actually called light blue. And then we have some more blues, and then we get into the darker blues. And then here we have our purples. And again, we've got like this lavender color. I bet it's called lavender. Yep, lavender gray. And then we get some more purples here. And then like I showed you earlier, we've got our pinky purples, and then we have a darker purple. And over here, well, let's start here at this end. So we've got a couple more purples down here. This one looks like it may have a lot of blue in it. And then, like I said here, we've got a yellow and an orange. These to me should be over there. And then we have some reddish browns and some browns. And then here we have what looks to be like a yellowish brown or like a golden color. They're calling it honey. Then we have some more browns here. And then we have our grays. Let's see what they give us for grays here. So all of the grays just have names like light gray, smoke, elephant. So they have some creative names. Space gray, So it looks like we do have a couple warm grays and then a couple cool grays here. And of course, I'll let you see that when we go swatch these out. But this one looks like a much warmer gray. And then these here look like they are cooler grays. This one looks like it might have a lot of brown in it. Of course, that is the one that is called Smoke. And then we have a very dark gray, and then we have our black. Okay, so let's talk pricing now and how these would compare to some of the other sets on Amazon, some of the other budget sets. So this set here you can get on Amazon right now for $25.99, which I feel like is a really good price, because if you compare them to another wax set, say the Colorya colored pencils, which is a brand new release. I just actually reviewed those. I will put that in the upper right hand corner so that you could check that out if you're interested in those. But those come in at $39.99. So these are quite a bit cheaper. Now, if I compared them to another colored pencil set such as the Spearfarben, which of course the Spearfarben that comes in a 72 set, they are an oil-based pencil, but those are going to be $34.97. So these still come in $10 less than that set. And I believe Mark Art also has a set of 72, and I believe those come in right around $19.99. So I feel like this is a really good price for a 72 set of pencils at only $25.99. Okay, so now it's time to move on to the pencil sharpener test. I have my electric pencil sharpener of choice here. I have the Jarklink, and then I have my Dahle 133. Y'all know this is my tried and true absolute favorite. But if you're looking for an electric pencil sharpener, this is the one that I really, really love. And just so you know, and I say this in every single video, if you're gonna purchase this pencil sharpener, make sure you always leave it on 3. And it will auto stop and give you a beautiful lead. And I'm gonna show you that now. I think I'm gonna go ahead and grab this orange one again, since it's the one I've been using. Now, the reason I like to test all of the colored pencils out on the Dahle 133 is because when I turn the lever, I can tell how hard or soft the wood of the pencil is. So let's go ahead and put this pencil in here, and we are going to turn the lever. Okay, so the lever you can see is quite hard to turn. So that just tells me that the wood that these pencils are made out of is a very much harder wood. So for those of you that have not seen my reviews before, I'm going to use a Prismacolor, and I'm going to show you the difference. Now, the Prismacolor is going to be the artist grade comparable to the budget friendly pencil because these are a wax based pencil. But even if I put a polychromos in here, it's going to be much easier to turn this. So let me show you the difference. I'll put my Prismacolor right in there. And I could just very easily turn this. It's very easy to turn because the Prismacolors have a much softer wood. So I went ahead and grabbed a Crayola color pencil, and I wanted to show you the difference between one of these and the Crayola since I showed you the Prismacolor. And I don't think I've ever done this in one of these videos before, so this will be a really great way to be able to show you why I do this. But let's go ahead and turn this. And it's rather hard to turn because the wood is much harder. And I'm going to go ahead and test out another one of these because I really want to be able to see if it's about the same, because I think it is about the same. Actually, this one was easier to turn. So when I put this one in here, it was much easier for me to turn the lever than it was with the orange one. Let me go ahead and try one more. I'm going to have to sharpen all of these anyway. Let me not do another color that has yellow or orange in it. Let me test one out that is maybe a green. Okay, and that was easier to turn. So the wood on these is not as hard as a Crayola. The Crayola was more difficult to turn in the sharpener. And it seemed as though the orange one, this particular color, was a little bit more difficult to turn than when I put this one in. This one was much easier. And I want to test just one more. And I really want to be able to do an orange. Here, let me do one that's sort of orangey red. So see, this one does feel a little bit harder and more comparable to the way that the Crayola felt. So I think they do have a little bit of a harder wood. It is going to be closer to something like a Crayola rather than a Prismacolor. Now let's go ahead and test them out and see what kind of lead we get with the Jarklink. So this was the lead that we got when we sharpened it in the Dahle. Look how beautiful that is. I love my Dahle 133. But I'm gonna leave this one out because I want to show you also the lead that you get in here compared to the lead you're going to get with the Dahle 133. Because a lot of people, like me, I was one of those that was very afraid to use an electric pencil sharpener with my colored pencils because I thought it was going to eat it up. So I'm going to show you the difference. You could see that it went in there very easily, and I'm going to show you, I have it on 3. I'll flip it up so you could see that. So it's on 3. I never take it off of there. And it stopped. So the auto stop is really wonderful on this pencil sharpener. And it sharpened beautifully. And I'm going to show you the difference. So this is the one, the darker one is the one with the Jarklink. And the lighter one is the one that I put in the Dahle 133. So you could see that it is exactly the same. I think I have them pretty much lined up right at the top here. And you could see that the leads are almost identical, or pretty much are identical. So this pencil sharpener is going to sharpen just like the Dahle did, but this one is going to take all the pressure off your hands if you have arthritis or struggle with any type of hand pain. Okay, y'all, so I've done it. I put all of them into color family order, or at least a very close. I mean, it's not exact like I would normally do it, but at least they have some rhyme or reason. And I wanted to do this because when I swatch them out, I want to be able to do a really good review of the colors and really be able to tell what we're getting from this set by having a good color placement. And if we look at these now that they're all laid out, we could see exactly how many reds and oranges you get, how many yellows you get with this set, how many blues you get, and purples and pinks. And then I'll flip it over here, and we've got a couple more blues as we get into our blue greens, and then our greens. We've got some olive greens here. Our olive greens continue down here. Then I've got my beiges, which I moved from the front to over here with the browns. I have all of my browns, and then I have my warm grays, which we only get a couple of. So these are our warm grays, and then these are all cooler grays. And then we get our black. So that's what they look like now that they're all laid out into my color family order. And I do need to swap some of them around. If you can see, I've got the leads down here on this side, and they look like this because when I do the swatching, I want to be able to just pull them out and swatch them. That's why they sort of look kind of misplaced. But I do need to swap these around because I like when the tips of my pencils are down this direction instead of sticking out towards the top of the case, because I feel like when I zip it up, I don't want my leads to be right there. So I like the top of the pencil to be there, and that's the way that I suggest that you lay your pencils in your cases, because you don't want one to be sticking out and then you zip up your case and there goes your lead. So I feel like it protects my leads in my pencil a little bit better, so they will all eventually be like this once I swap them out. As I swatch, I'll probably put them back like that. So I did ahead of time while I was doing all of this other work sort of behind the scenes. I got my swatch chart and I put all of the names and numbers into the color family order that I put them into in the case. This swatch chart here is my 72 swatch chart, and it is available in my Etsy shop. I will always have the link down below so that you can check out everything that I have to offer in my Etsy shop. And we are going to go ahead and start swatching these. Now when I swatch these, I'm going to go ahead and speed this up to music, and then I am going to come back when I'm done swatching out all the colors, and we are going to do a review of the colors and see what we get in this set. and I will have timestamps on this video, so if there's any section of this video that you would like to go back to or rewatch, you can always do that by using the bar down at the bottom of the screen. Let's go ahead and start swatching these. So after sitting here and swatching out all of these pencils, I was able to see how they feel, how they perform. So I just want to share a few things before we go over the colors. When I do these video reviews or first impressions of any new pencil set that I have just received or a company has sent me, I do all of these tests so that y'all could watch these videos and then determine for yourselves whether or not you like the pencils or they're going to work for you. Like I tell y'all all the time, you may receive a pencil set and you may not like it at all, but then somebody else will get the same pencils and they will use them and they will fall in love with them. So that's why I like to do my reviews in this way, so that I can sort of tell you my experience with them and do all of these tests, and then hopefully that will allow you to determine whether or not you think you want to pick these up for yourself. So I took a few notes over here as I was swatching, and I just want to share a few things with you that I experienced while I was swatching these pencils. So there wasn't a lot of consistency with these pencils. Some of them were scratchy, and I'm going to tell you exactly which ones because I made a little sticky note over here so I could share with you exactly what was going on as I was swatching the pencils. So I actually left these broken off leads over here in the corner because I wanted you all to see this, and that is from the Coyote pencil. And so I'm going to try a little something with that one because I'm wondering if maybe the core is off-centered, because I tried to sharpen it a couple times with the electric pencil sharpener and it just continued to break. There were a couple that really stood out to me that were extremely soft and creamy, and that was the Amaranth, I think that's how you pronounce that, the Lavender Gray, which is right here, super, super soft and creamy. Also the Basil, that went down like a dream, and the Honey, that one was wonderful. What really threw me was that the actual lavender was a bit scratchy. So the lavender was a bit scratchy, but yet the Lavender Gray went down on the swatch like a dream. And this one I had a little bit of trouble with. And the other ones that I felt a little bit of scratchiness with were the Raspberry, the Hot Pink, the Lilac, the Mint, and the Deep Brown. And I wanted to write those down and make note of it just to share that with you, because there wasn't a whole lot of consistency in these pencils. All of the rest I didn't have an issue with. They went down just fine. But there were a couple that really stood out to me, the ones that I mentioned. But there were a few that were very, very creamy and went down very, very nice, and they actually felt like a wax-based pencil. Now, these pencils do feel like a harder pencil, most of them. And they do go down a little bit more like as if I was using an oil-based pencil, more so a budget-friendly oil-based pencil, like comparable to some of the others that I'm sure many of you are very familiar with. Now, when I went to go lay down this Coyote pencil on my swatch chart, I don't know if you saw that part of the video, and there are timestamps on this, so you could go back to the swatching section and you could see that I did have issues with the Coyote, and this is what the lead looks like now. And there was one other one that broke. That was my spring green. So the spring green also broke. I do want to say I didn't get a lot of crumbs from these pencils, just the couple breakages, and it was the spring green and this Coyote. And so I want to do a little test here before we go over or review the colors. I am going to try the Coyote in my Dahle sharpener and see if I could get it to sharpen. But I did try it twice, and I was in the middle of swatching. So because I was in the middle of swatching, I didn't want to stop because I didn't want to create a break in the filming of the swatching. So let me grab a sheet of paper. This is the sheet of paper that I test my colors out on, or apparently I was putting something in color family order. So let's go ahead and see if we fixed it. Okay, so you could see it is still breaking. But now it seems to be okay. So maybe the core is not off-centered. Maybe it was just a little bit of not so great luck with that particular pencil. I don't know, because it seems fine now. But you can tell that I've sharpened it quite a few times. Let me get one I didn't have issues with. So here is one that I didn't have any issues with. And you could see the difference in the size of the pencil. And that's always sad for that to happen with a new set of pencils. So I will say, even with my Prismacolors, the chocolate pencil I always have issues with. And this color is very similar to the chocolate color in the Prismacolor set. So I wonder if it has something to do with whatever it takes to make this color. I don't know, but I cannot keep a sharp lead on my chocolate Prismacolor, and that seems to be the same issue I had with this one particular pencil. So let's go ahead and review the colors and see what we get in this set, and then we're going to move on to the blend test. If you weren't watching the previous sections of the video and you're using the time bar or the timestamp bar down below to sort of skip from section to section, and you did not see me mention that I did put these in color family order, this is my color family order, so they look like they are in a much better order than what they came in. Of course, I'm sure there's a few things that I would still switch around a little bit, but that's okay. At least we can tell what colors we get in which color families. So we do get quite a few yellows of many different shades, and all of them are very different from one another. And then we have this gorgeous marmalade color, which is a real pale like orangey yellow, and then this Tuscan Sun, which is another gorgeous orangey yellow, and then saffron, which is a bright beautiful orange, and then we get this pumpkin. Of course, you could see this pumpkin probably should have been right here. So apricot, coral, these are really pretty colors, and then we've got our oranges, and then we don't get a whole lot of oranges in here because we very quickly go into the reds. And I would say from here, they're calling this an orange, but that has a lot of red in it. So I guess that would be considered an orange too. But from here to here, and then these two here, those are all reds. And then down here, we have what they're calling deep magenta. That is a very dark, much darker red. So I put mine down there with the browns, for now anyway. And then we have a few pinks. So we have these 4 pinks here, and then we have this one here that is also a pink. Then we get some pinky purple. So for a 72 set, we do get a good variety of pinks. And then we have a lilac here, which is really pretty. A lavender gray. We get a lavender gray and a lavender. And then it seems that this one has a lot more blue in it, and that's why I put this one over here, closer to where I'm going to get into the blues. So we get about 4 purples, and then these start to have a lot of pink in them, so I guess 3 true purples. And then we get into our blues over here, and we've got a few blues here, and then we start to get into our lighter blues and our blues that have more green in them. And then we're going to get into our greens, and like with most sets, you do get a whole lot of greens because we have our typical greens, we got greens that have blues in them, and then you get the brighter greens. as we move into the grassier greens, and then you get your olive greens. We get a couple of those. This one does look very gray, but it also has green in it. It's a very different color. So this color here probably should have gone after the forest green. It does still have green in it. It is called Ancient Silver. So I don't know, it could also go down here if I had wanted it to. So we get this dark forest green, then we get a couple of beige tones, and then we have this golden color, which is really, really pretty, like a golden yellow, very close to like a goldenrod in your Prisma set. And then we have this coyote color. That was the one that I had a few issues with and some breakages. And that's really sad because that's a really pretty brown. Then we get into the cinnamon here. Deep magenta, I think I already mentioned that one when I was talking about the reds. And then we have a sienna brown, a dark chocolate. These look very close, but they're definitely not the same. Then we have a couple more browns over here, a very dark brown called espresso. I think I mentioned earlier we get a couple warm grays, and then we get a couple cooler grays, and then we get our black. So that is a full review of the colors, and I think we have a good amount of the colors that we would need, especially for a 72 set. I do think we get a whole lot of greens, but that's the case with most budget sets, or really any set of pencil. You know, we've got to have those greens for our leaves, right? And we did actually get a really good amount of grays for a 72 set. What we don't have is any metallics, but again, it is a 72 set, so I really don't expect to get metallics in a 72 set of color pencils. So now it is time to move on to the blend test, and we're going to see how these pencils perform when we blend them together. So I have my swatch chart, and I'm just going to choose some colors. For the first color combination that I'm going to put together, I think we're going to stick to one color family. So I want to choose something here that I can put together, and it is just going to flow very, very nicely with a dark, a medium, and a light. So I really like the hot pink or the fuchsia for a very dark color. Okay, so I'm going to pull out the hot pink because the hot pink was one of the ones that had a little bit of scratchiness to it. And I always tell y'all to make sure you sharpen your pencils. And sometimes I will sharpen my pencil and it will feel scratchy. And so I will sharpen it again and then it goes away. And I don't know why that is, but I'm going to use that one for the blend test because that was one of the ones that I had an issue with and I really want to be able to test it out. So I'm going to put the hot pink with, let's go with the fruit punch and the peony. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sharpen my hot pink again. And I think it was originally sharpened with the Jarklink, so we'll see what happens here now if that scratchiness goes away. And I like to do this for the benefit of the video review because I really like to be thorough in these reviews. And I think it actually went away. Okay, so our next color is Fruit Punch, and we are going to come up here at the transition and pull that down. And the last color is the Peony, so let's come in here at the transition and pull that down. And they seem to be blending together very nicely, actually. So let's come back with the hot pink. And the scratchiness that I was feeling when I was swatching these out is definitely gone. And then our mid-tone. And I think this is our second layer. I always get mixed up with the layers and how many there are. Let's go ahead and go back the other direction. Start to fill some of that white. And it is definitely not scratchy anymore. So see, I just needed to sharpen it again. And then we're gonna pull down this color as our mid-tone, into the lighter color. Now these are blending together really, really nicely. I think that was the third layer, and we are going to really put these to the test by blending together some colors from different color families. So this is 4, and I think a lot of the weight of the paper is already gone. Let's go ahead and try 5 and see if the color will still lay down, and it is. Okay, so this is 5, and you could see that that color is still laying down there, and it's starting to move around a lot more now that we've got that color down on the paper. And then a 5th layer of our lightest color. Now let's come back up here and do a 6th layer. And with most colored pencils, once you get a lot of that color down on the paper, you will notice that the color will start to move around a lot better for you. And if they are just a little bit scratchy, like if you have a budget set that is a little bit scratchy, I think this is 7. I hope y'all are counting too. But if you have a budget set that seems to be a little bit scratchy, after you lay down a lot of the color onto the paper, it tends to go away. And look how beautifully these are blending together. And then this is 7. And generally I can't really get that far past 7 with a budget set. And I am using a little bit harder pressure. But even where there's a greater difference between these two colors, it looks like they blended together really well. I think that was 8 layers, and I think that about covers it. But let me hold this a little bit closer. So here it is, and that is our blend, and they blended together beautifully. They really, really did. So now we're really going to put these to the test, and we are going to choose some colors from different color families. Usually when I like to do that, I like to do like a red, an orange, and a yellow maybe. Or we could do like a, I don't know, a blue, a purple. Let me look at my swatch chart and we will choose some colors. We could go purple into blue into, no, we're not going to do that. Let's go ahead and do what I had originally suggested, and we'll do a red, an orange into a yellow and see how that looks or how that blends together, and if we get the same smooth transition that we did the first time when we stuck to one color family. I like this bold red, and I think we could do this bold red into the bright orange. Okay, so bold red, bright orange, and then where do we want to go? We got to pick a yellow, a really pretty yellow. I really like this Tuscan Sun. Let's go ahead and use the Tuscan Sun. That's a pretty color. Okay, so we're really going to put these to the test now. Let's go ahead and lay down the bold red. This is layer number 1. Bright orange. Oh look, they're blending together beautifully. And then the last one is our Tuscan Sun. And look at that. Oh, how pretty. Okay, so let's start with layer number 2. I'm not sure if that first one blurred out a little bit because of my camera, so if it did, I apologize. And then we have our mid-tone. So this is the second layer of the mid-tone and our lightest color. So we're going to do the third, and for the third, like we did at the last one, we're going to go the opposite direction and pull that down there. And I'm lifting up as I come into that transition because you don't ever want to use hard pressure, so that way you get a smoother transition. And then our third layer of the orange, and I'm going to pull that down into the yellow, and the third layer of the yellow. Okay, so this is the fourth layer, and I'm going to use a little bit harder pressure here. They seem to be transitioning beautifully, especially the red with the orange. Okay, so what is this? Is this 5, I think? And then our fifth layer of the bright orange. And the bright orange, this color is really pigmented, and it's going down really creamy and smooth. And so is the yellow. Actually, all of these are. And I have noticed with these, after I get a lot more of the color down onto the paper, that pigment from the pencil is really moving around nicely. Okay, so this might be 7. I don't know. I was talking, so I sort of lost count. But I think this is going to be our last layer because I think we have pretty much covered all of the white of the paper. And those blended together really nicely as well. So let me go ahead and hold that really close so that y'all could see the blend there. But both of them, even when we did just one color family, they blended together just as beautifully, I feel like, as they did with the different color families where we did the red, the orange, and the yellow. I hope y'all enjoyed this review and my first impressions and all of the tests we did for these Colorya colored pencils. I hope that you were able to go through the video and make your own decision as to whether or not you feel like these pencils would be for you. They are a little bit harder, and they do feel more like they are an oil-based pencil. I would probably say they feel very much like most of the other oil-based sets that you find on Amazon. They're very comparable to any of those. As far as the color range is pretty much comparable to most of the other 72 sets as well. If you would like to see any comparison videos comparing this color pencil set to another colored pencil set, or even if you have any specific questions, please leave them in the comments below. I always try to come back to my comments section and answer all the questions that y'all have. And this video, again, will have timestamps on it, so if there's something you want to go back and you want to watch, feel free to skip around or rewatch any sections of the video that you feel like may be helpful to you. If you're interested in purchasing these pencils for yourselves, I will have a link down in the description box below, as well as anything else you've seen in this video. I hope y'all have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video. Happy coloring. Bye.